G'day guys, this is Tyr and welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. In this one I am going to be sharing some golden nuggets that my little peanut brain has come up with. These are 10 legendary perk cards that I would love to see in Fallout 76. Now I thought of these legendary perks on my own and I am actually extremely proud of them. And I can honestly see all of them actually existing as something that could be added into the game in the future by Bethesda. And having said that, if anyone that works at Bethesda sees this video, please add these perks or something like them, something very similar, into the game. I give full permission to you guys and I relinquish these perks as my own intellectual property. Whatever needs to be done, just add more legendary perks, stuff like this. It'll improve the game and it will be amazing. I've already done all the heavy lifting creatively and logistically, so all you have to do is just write in the code and add them into the game. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, the reason I've made this list in the first place is because legendary perks in their current form are a bit of a wasted opportunity. Bethesda said it themselves, that legendary perks are supposed to feel like a permanent choice, something you have to consider carefully, something that alters your character for your own specific playstyle and build. Legendary cards are supposed to be something incredibly special. Yet all we've gotten so far is some quality of life perks like Master Infiltrator and Survival Shortcut. We've also gotten some legendary special attribute perks to bolster our regular perks, and some legendary perks that make our enemies explode on death, like Far-Flung Fireworks and Detonation Contagion. And honestly, out of the 26 legendary perks that we do have available right now, as far as I'm concerned, there is next to nothing in the current legendary perk list that actually boosts a specific playstyle, apart from, in my opinion, 3 perks. Those being Hack and Slash for the melee builds, Taking One for the Team for the tank builds, and Follow Through for the sneak builds. Everything else is just there for the sake of being there, and doesn't really allow the player to better fill any other desired roles or playstyles. There's really nothing else for high health builds or low health builds, there's absolutely nothing for medic builds, and just in general there's a few things that should just be expanded upon. Also, quick shout out, all of the art that you will see for these legendary perks was custom made by Waster93 from the Fallout 76 data mining Discord and the Fallout Wiki team. So huge props to Waster for creating these sprites for me to use. Also, side note, all of the custom cards being shown are what they would look like and say when fully maxed out. Anyways, I guess this brings me to my actual list, so let's get started. At number 1 we have a legendary perk that will be specific to the shotgun builds. This one is called And Stay Way Back. Basically, shotguns at this point in time are in desperate need of a buff, in more ways than one, but most desperately they are in need of an armor penetration perk. And I've taken this opportunity to propose that this is to be introduced with this legendary perk. Now I won't bore you with the math behind it all here, I'll make a separate video for that to go in depth, but basically shotguns are absolutely garbage against heavily armored enemies, and then they perform even worse on top of that when you're fighting endgame bosses like the Queen or Earl Williams. And simply, having armor penetration that is a large enough percentage to account for the damage that we lose by having our damage divided by each pallet would be more than enough to fix the shotgun class of weapons performance on these heavily armored targets. Additionally, I've borrowed a concept from New Vegas and decided that this perk would also have the side benefit to have a chance to ragdoll small and regular sized enemies, basically blasting them back and onto the ground for a few seconds, since shotguns really need to feel like they give off more of an oomph feeling. I decided armor penetration and a ragdoll effect was a perfect fit for bolstering the shotgun playstyle. The description and exact values of this perk would be the following. With the And Stay Way Back perk, while using shotguns you gain a % chance to ragdoll small and regular sized enemies. Side note, huge enemies like the Behemoth and Scorch Beasts will be staggered instead. Another side note, this will work per attack and not per pallet, so don't have to worry about any unbalance issues there. Additionally, the perk grants armor penetration for shotguns, which we've already covered. At rank 1 I imagine this would be a 3% knockback chance and 15% armor penetration. Rank 2 would be 6% knockback chance and 20% armor penetration. And rank 3 would be 9% knockback chance and 25% armor penetration. And then rank 4, As with all legendary perk cards, the final rank gives a huge boost, and that will be a similar theme that I've done here. Rank 4 will be a 15% knockback chance and 55% armor penetration, which will be absolutely killer and insane for making shotguns on par with the other forms of weaponry. Now at number 2, we have what I'm calling Critical Harbinger. Now for me and a lot of other players, this perk solves a massive problem that Bethesda introduced firstly in Fallout 4, and then obviously that problem has persisted and carried on to 76. The problem was that when Bethesda introduced player-controlled critical shots that were activated in VATS, they also removed the chance-based critical effects that would happen through regular gameplay. Subsequently, this means that the ability to get a critical shot by free aiming your weapon was made impossible. If you don't know what I mean by all of this, basically take a look at Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. In those games, you have a small percentage to activate a critical absolutely randomly. In fact, some weapons gave you a higher or lower percent chance to get these critical hits, and I think it was an amazing system. Basically, this perk would reintroduce that concept back into the game through the form of this perk. Basically, this is needed because not everyone that plays this game wants to use VATS. Some people much prefer to free aim, and basically with the current critical system, you are at an extreme disadvantage if you do choose to free aim, on account of the inability for you to get a critical hit on enemies. Like I said, this perk would remedy that, and honestly I think this perk is beyond perfect for builds like heavy gunners or melee characters, since those builds are not able to properly make use of the VATS critical system in the first place. The exact description, details and values of this perk would be the following. Critical Harbinger grants you a percentage-based chance to apply criticals randomly per attack, not per projectile, keep that in mind. This perk works exclusively outside of VATS with your free aim only, and has no effects inside of VATS. This perk would work on all weapon types including shotguns, heavy weapons, rifles, pistols, and melee/unarmed. It's worth noting that these random criticals work the same way damage-wise as the regular player-controlled critical attacks, and also get their damage boosted the exact same ways. For example, both the Eagle Eyes mutation and Better Criticals perk would increase the damage of these random criticals. These criticals are purely percent based and cannot have their frequency increased by luck or other factors or perks, just to simplify it. And the percent to score a critical hit is roughly halved for automatic weapons and automatic heavy weapons for the sake of balancing. At rank 1, I decided that it should be a 3% per attack to score a critical hit, and 1% if you're using an automatic weapon. Rank 2, it should be a 6%, and then a 3% if using an automatic weapon. Rank 3, it should be a 9%, and then a 5% chance to score that critical hit if you're using an automatic weapon. And then finally, at rank 4, I think it should be a 15% chance per attack to score a critical hit, and 8% if you are using an automatic weapon. Like I said, this would be absolutely monumentally invaluable for things like heavy weapon builds, since they cannot make use of the critical system and gain bonus damage that way, so this would rectify it. Then at number 3 we have something that I'm calling Combat Medic. Now this would be the support build's ultimate perk card. I know for a fact Neo is definitely going to bust his chops when he sees this. This would be something that every healer and medic build would want to get maxed out as soon as possible. Basically, in short, this perk grants its user the ability to heal his teammates at a set amount of health by shooting and killing enemies in battle. Basically think of it like the Vampire's legendary effect, but instead of healing yourself, you only exclusively heal your teammates. And don't worry, I've closed all the loopholes and fixed any ways this could become wildly overpowered. At least in my head I have. I don't know what it would be like in real life in the game. But yeah, it's perfectly balanced, at least from the way I've written it. Basically, it would be an absolutely ideal legendary perk to add into the game for multiple reasons. Basically, every attack you fire that actually lands on an enemy will heal your teammates by a set amount of health. And I decided to make it heal your teammates by a set amount of health instead of a percentage of health to avoid it being too overpowered. Because obviously, healing 5% of your teammates' health per shot is pretty powerful in comparison to healing 5 HP per shot, which is still a massive help in the grand scheme of things, but it's also not going to break the game, which is pretty important when creating new perks. I want to also make it clear here that this would not work per projectile and would only actually heal your teammates if they are within a close, proximal distance to yourself. Also, again, you do not heal yourself with this perk, only your teammates. The exact description and finer details of the perk are as follows. The Combat Medic perk gives you the ability to heal your teammates by attacking enemies. You exclusively heal your teammates and not yourself. So every shot you fire that hits an enemy will heal your teammates for a specific amount of health as long as they are within a proximal area to the wielder of this perk. Keep in mind that this does not work per pellet, only per successful attack on an enemy, and also keep in mind automatic weapons will heal slightly less to avoid this being too overpowered. At rank 1 I think it should heal your teammates 2 health points per attack and by 1 health point if it's an automatic weapon. Then at rank 2, I think you should heal 3 health points per attack and 2 health points if you're using an automatic weapon. Then at rank 3, I think you should heal your teammates 4 health points per attack and 3 if they're using an automatic weapon. Then finally at rank 4, you should heal your teammates 6 health points per attack and 4 if you're using an automatic weapon. Now I think this is absolutely a game changer for the healer builds in the game. They don't have much to work with in the base game. They've got solar armor, they've got team medic, they've got EMT, things like that, but something like this, to really drive home that healer build playstyle is something that this game is sorely needing. We need a lot more healers out there. They're amazing builds. If you don't know what a healer build is, I recommend you check out NeoLux13. He basically does that on his channel exclusively. And then at number 4, we have something that I'm calling Blizzard Blind. And it's basically just something that is sorely needed in the game. It's nothing special or innovative, but it's something that apparently Bethesda overlooked when they introduced the elemental damage types. Because as it stands right now, we do have Sizzling Style to combat fire damage, and we have Funky Duds to combat poison and acid damage, but there is absolutely no way for the player to gain any cryo resistance at this point in time. Which means that if you're fighting, for example, a freezer floater, then that thing will be a pretty deadly foe. But the main reason for this perk needing to be added is to combat cryolators during PvP. Cryolators have become the main PvP weapon of choice, specifically because there is no way to protect yourself from its cryo elemental damage type, which is a shame and a strange oversight. But anyway, this will fix that problem, and while I would rather it if Bethesda combined all 3 of these protection perks together into one perk, for example if they merged Sizzling Style, Funky Duds and this Blizzard Blind perk together, I think that would be ideal and would be a lot less clutter in the perk menu. But let's be honest, I don't see them doing that, so the exact description and details of this perk are as follows. The Blizzard Blind perk grants you higher cryo resistance as you level the perk up. This will grant protection from all cryo elemental attacks in the game, so long as you are wearing a matching set of armor or pair armor. Basically, it's the cryo version of Sizzling Style and Funky Duds. You know the drill. Rank 1 grants 50 CR, Rank 2 grants 100 CR, Rank 3 is 150 CR, and Rank 4 is 300 CR. CR obviously meaning cryo resistance. Then at number 5 we have one of my personal favourites on this list. This is something that I'm calling Apex Predator. Now this perk has a very similar functionality to the regular perk called Adrenaline, but where they differ is the bonus you get per kill. With Adrenaline, you get bonus damage, but with Apex Predator, as you get more kills, you get increased damage resistance and increased energy resistance per kill. This perk will max out at 5 kills, and the bonus you receive per kill will depend on your current rank of Apex Predator, obviously. I think this will be a fantastic legendary perk for DPS and tank hybrid builds, or maybe just tank builds in general that want a reason to actually start killing stuff. I know I would be using this on my melee and my pair armor characters for sure. I think this would be an absolutely amazing perk and would create a lot of diversity between players, and it would really help cement your role as a damage dealing tank hybrid. But anyways, the exact description and details of this perk per rank are as follows. The Apex Predator perk will increase your DR and ER after each kill, and maxes out at 5 kills and lasts for 45 seconds. Each kill refreshes the timer and progresses the benefit until maxed. So at rank 1, each kill increases your DR and ER by plus 10 per kill. Maxing out at 5 kills will total 50 DR and ER if maxed. By the way, I'm just going to say resistance from now on, so when I say resistance, I mean DR and ER, just to make this sound a little bit less weird. So rank 2, each kill will increase your resistance by 20 per kill, maxing out at 5, totaling 100 resistance F maxed. Then at rank 3, each kill will increase your resistance by 30 per kill, maxing out at 150 resistance F maxed. Then finally at rank 4, each kill will increase your DR and ER by 60 per kill. Maxing that out at 5 kills will total 300 DR and ER if you get the full 5 kills. Which I think, like I said before, is absolutely fantastic for a lot of reasons, for a lot of builds. It will create some diversity. Tank players will want a reason to kill other things so they can get more tanky. Just killers will want a reason to kill things and take this perk so then they can be more tanky. It creates a beautiful little synergy there, I reckon. Next up at number 6, we have a perk specifically designed for the pistol builds. This is something I'm calling Fan the Hammer, and I think this perk will give pistol builds the buff they've been hoping for in the form of a DPS increase. Basically, Fan the Hammer will increase the fire rate and reload speed of all pistols in the game proportional to their pistol type. So for example, at max rank, things like an automatic 10mm pistol may get a 24% increase to its fire rate and reload speed, while naturally slower firing pistols like the Western revolvers, bolt action pistols will get double the bonus, a 48% increase to fire rate and reload speed, which will hopefully be enough of an increase to bridge the gap between the absolutely poor performance of most pistols and bring them on par with some other weapons in the game. Now I thought of this perk because I wanted a way to increase the viability of pistols without being unfair and just straight up offering an unimaginative exclusive damage boost to pistols only. I wanted to be more creative, and I feel like this is a good solution, or at least a start to a good solution, where it keeps the base damage of pistols as whatever Bethesda deems them to be, but it massively increases the DPS of all pistols, including the very slow firing revolvers and bolt action pistols. And also, I'd like to mention that this perk would stack with the faster fire rate legendary effect and any perks or legendary effects that would increase your reload speed, which I think would place pistols in a very unique place. Because if you think about it, pistols are supposed to be fast and they are supposed to be nimble and quick. Not all of them are supposed to pack a punch, but they do need to perform quicker than all of the other weapon types. The exact description and details are listed below. The Fan the Hammer perk benefits pistols of all kinds, auto, charging, revolvers, bolt action and semi-automatic. With this perk you gain increased reload speed and fire rate proportional to the pistol type you are using. To make it simple, automatic pistols gain the bonus stated, then semi-automatic, bolt action and revolvers and charging type pistols will gain double the stated benefit, which I think is more than fair. And like I said earlier, charging pistols like the Gauss pistol will have their charging rate increased by the percentage instead of the actual fire rate. This does also stack with any reload increasing perks and effects, as well as the faster fire rate legendary effect on weapons. Now I think on rank 1, automatic pistols should gain a 5% reload speed and fire rate increase, while all others should gain a 10%. Then at rank 2, automatic pistols gain an 8% reload and fire rate increase, and all others gain a 16%. Then at rank 3, automatic pistols will gain a 12% reload speed and fire rate increase, while all others will gain a 24% increase. Then finally, at rank 4, automatic pistols will gain a 24% reload speed and fire rate increase, while all others will gain a 48% increase to their fire rate and reload speed. Now as I said, this is something that is sorely needed. Pistols are very out of touch and out of balance with the rest of the weapons in this game. They're slow, they're clunky, they're not nimble, and they don't deal damage. They definitely don't deal as much damage as their commando or rifle counterparts. And I feel a DPS increase like this in the form of a legendary perk will more than rectify that and make up for it. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Next up is number 7, and this one is going to ruffle a few feathers. Here we have what I'm calling Juggernaut. Now the Juggernaut perk is something exclusively for full health builds. Now as we all know, the low health main builds do have some incredible benefits for being low health. We get a plus 15 to all stats and a 170% damage increase, among other stuff, but it does come at a price for being easier to kill in most situations. But meanwhile, on the flip side of things, the full health builds have been kind of shafted and don't really get much bonus in comparison for being at full health. I mean, I guess their bonus is that they have a much higher chance of staying alive, but besides from that, they don't really get anything. Which is why I'm proposing the Juggernaut perk. Basically, while you are above 90% health, you will gain a damage bonus and a few small substantial boosts to your special stats. But obviously, to keep these bonuses, you have to ensure that you remain above 90% health. As soon as you dip below 90%, your bonuses are gone. And to be clear, the bonuses won't be as much as the bloodied players receive for obvious reasons. But it is something nonetheless, and I feel like this will bridge the gap and divide between full health and low health players. Because now we each get something worthwhile that benefits us for our chosen playstyles. And obviously, with all these perks, the bonuses get more substantial as you level up the perk, and I think it's balanced quite nicely. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on this perk in particular, and I guess all of them so far, because honestly, if something like this was actually added to the game, it might make me actually decide to play a full health build for once. The exact details and information about this perk are as follows. The Juggernaut perk is for full health builds. While above 90% health, you gain increased damage output and bonuses to your special stats. As you rank this perk up higher, you get more and more bonuses to your special and damage output. It is worth noting that as soon as you go below 90% health, all of your bonuses are gone. Now at rank 1, while above 90% health, you gain 10% bonus damage and +1 to strength and perception. Then at rank 2, while above 90% health, you gain 13% bonus damage and +2 to strength, perception and charisma. Then at rank 3, while above 90% health, you gain 16% bonus damage and a +3 to strength, perception, charisma and intelligence now. Then finally, at rank 4, while above 90% health, you gain 20% bonus damage and a +5 to all special stats excluding endurance. This means you get +5 to strength, perception, charisma, intelligence, agility and luck, which I think is way more than fair. I think this will really bridge the gap between bloodied and full health builds. I think it's an amazing addition to the game, and something like this really should have been here from the get-go to really make those full health builds feel like they're getting something out of their chosen playstyle besides just being more of a tank. The next we have number 8, and this one is an absolute blast. Here we have something that may be a little familiar to some of you that played Fallout 3. But I've modernized it for Fallout 76. Here we have Nuclear Anomaly. Yes, that's right. That perk. Don't worry, I've theory crafted it to be balanced and work correctly. Okay, so basically this is a perk for the low health players. And let me preface, at the start, right here and right now, that this thing is a roll of the dice. It is not guaranteed to happen, but when it does, you'll be over the moon about it. Basically, when you drop below 5% health, you have a small chance to erupt into a small nuclear explosion, dealing damage to all of those around you, except friendly NPCs and your teammates, obviously. And don't worry, it won't accidentally initiate PvP with others, at least in my ideal version of this, it wouldn't. Anyway, I've also made the decision that it should not heal you or hurt you. It will have no effect on your health whatsoever. So if you do get below 5% health and Nuclear Anomaly procs, then you'll still have to heal yourself. And to avoid this being spammed, I decided that in addition to it only having a chance to happen, I've decided that it should have an internal timer of about 15 seconds in between blasts. And to be honest, this is more of a last ditch effort sort of thing to kill the enemies around you when you're about to die, so yeah. Think of it as having a helping hand in the form of nuclear devastation. The exact details and description are as follows. The Nuclear Anomaly perk is based for low health players. When you drop below 5% health, you have a chance to erupt into a small nuclear explosion, dealing 500 explosive damage in a sizable radius proximal to the player. It's also worth noting that if I had anything to do with creating this perk, I would make it so that Demo Expert boosted its damage and Grenadier boosted its radius. Anyways, so at rank 1 it would be a 10% chance to proc, and then at rank 2 a 13% chance, rank 3 a 16% chance, and finally at rank 4 a 20% chance to proc. Now this is one of the ones where I can understand most people probably wouldn't want this, some people would want it. It would probably create some imbalance and just lag maybe, but if it implemented properly, this could be a really fun legendary perk for some bloodied players. And at number 9 we have another support related legendary card. This is something I'm calling critical healing, and this is something that honestly needs to be a part of the game, especially for support builds. They need some love, and this in combination with combat medic will be more than enough to help any player fill that role effectively. Basically, this perk introduces the concept of health criticals. Basically, now every form of healing has a chance to activate a critical heal. When a healing action becomes a critical, its base effectiveness is doubled for that specific action. This counts for everything that has the intention to heal your health, including all stim packs, all of the healing properties from food and drinks, the medic's healing effect from the legendary weapons, the vampire's legendary healing effect, even healer orientated perk cards including EMT, ghoulish, spiritual healer, friendly fire, and team medic, which means you have the chance to heal your teammates with a critical for double what you would normally heal them via team medic. This would also work with other legendary perks like the combat medic, if that were to also be added. Basically, any healing in the game has a chance to be a healing critical to do double the effectiveness. And for clarification, this has nothing to do with the player controlled critical meter. It is something that happens in the background of the game. Every time you do a healing action, the game rolls the dice in the background on whether it'll be a critical or not, and if it does become a critical, then it simply doubles the effectiveness of that healing action. The exact details and explanation are as follows. The critical healing perk introduces the concept of healing criticals. Basically now every form of healing has a chance to activate a critical heal, and when a healing action becomes critical, its base effectiveness is doubled for that action where it hit the crit. Anyways, at rank 1, the critical healing chance for this to proc would be 2%, at rank 2 the critical healing chance to proc is 4%, at rank 3 the critical healing chance to proc is 6%, and finally at rank 4 the critical healing chance to proc is 12%. I'm not really too sure how something like this should be balanced percentage wise, but it's something to work on, and it's a really awesome perk, so I'd love to see this concept implemented into the game at some point. And finally, at number 10, we have something that has been requested for a long time in this game. A way to pull aggro, or to aggro grab as it is frequently called in MMOs. I'm calling this perk Not Them, Me. And basically, this allows tank players to actually fill that role properly and be actual tank players, so that they can draw aggro from the bosses or regular enemies, so that the damage dealers can get in there and do their job and kill stuff easier. If you've played any MMO, then you know what I'm talking about here. This is fundamental, simple stuff. A tank that can successfully draw aggro and keep the fight focused on himself and away from everyone else is invaluable to a team. And this would more incentivize players to become healers as well, so that they can keep their tanks alive, so that they can do their job easier as well. I also imagine this would be immensely helpful in situations where the Scorchbeast Queen is just refusing to land. Basically because the Queen and every other enemy in the game will be more likely to become aggroed to the tank or tanks using this card, and it will land a hell of a lot more frequently. Now I have theory crafted this card to work in a way so that you have a chance to draw aggro, and that chance gets higher and higher with each rank of the card until it's maxed out. Then finally, at max rank you have a guaranteed chance to draw aggro of the surrounding enemies. I've also given the bonus ability to gain a slight amount of AP regeneration upon taking damage, to further incentivize people to take on this role, as this role would synergize with taking one for the team and dodgy. Maybe this needs some more work, and maybe if implemented, Bethesda could think of ways to make it better. But honestly, this right here has an untold amount of positives for the game and will allow players to better define their role at events and maybe even future events, as Bethesda could craft specific dungeons around this concept. I think this would be immensely helpful for the future of 76. The exact details are as follows. The Not Them, Me perk acts as a way for the game to finally introduce aggro grabbing or pulling. Basically, it's a perk that allows for further specialization into the tank playstyle. If you take this perk, you are way more likely to gain the aggro of all surrounding mobs and enemies, including bosses. and while you are taking damage from an enemy, you will gain a slight AP regeneration. The AP regeneration that you get while being attacked by enemies does stack with the kinetic Dynamo Power Armor Torso mod, which should be noted. It should also be noted that this perk works while on and off a team, 24/7, so be sure you want to take on this role before getting this perk. At rank 1, you're 20% more likely to draw aggro from all surrounding enemies just by being near them, and then every enemy attack that lands on you will restore 3 AP. At rank 2, you're 40% more likely and you will restore 6 AP upon receiving hits. At rank 3, you're 60% more likely and then you'll gain 8 AP per hit. And then finally, at rank 4, you're 100% guaranteed more likely to draw aggro on all surrounding enemies onto yourself, and every enemy attack that lands on you will restore 15 AP. Now, I think this perk is absolutely fucking brilliant and needs to be added. Absolutely needs to be added. Something like this needs to be in the game for the future of 76, for us to have proper raid bosses, proper dungeon raids, stuff like that. This sort of thing will be amazing, and for further specialization into tank playstyles and DPS, healers, all that sort of stuff, I feel like these legendary perks are the start to going down that direction, and I fucking love it. And that's it, guys. Honestly, I can see each and every one of these being added to the game. The only one that I can see maybe being scrapped is the nuclear anomaly one, but aside from that, I think it would be outlandish if these perks, or at least something similar, didn't get added in the near future for us to use. Like I said at the start of this video, the legendary perks are supposed to be a kind of permanent choice and something that affects your character's build deeply, something that pushes your character further along into a specific build, something that helps define your character's role in this game. Legendary perks should not be a place to just chuck useless quality of life perks to appease the casual players. For example, fucking Master Infiltrator, Survival Shortcut, and Power Sprinter. In my opinion, they don't feel like legendary perks and should not be here, and definitely are not worth it. But yeah, all of my legendary perks I've just listed do exactly what this system was built for. They make the player fill specific roles in the game, they make them feel legendary. I've come up with perks specific to pistol builds, perks for shotgunners, perks for tanks, perks for people that want to free aim instead of using VATS, which has been a long problem going around in this game. Also made perks for medic builds, and most importantly, perks for full health builds. And like I said, all of these perks I feel are well balanced and fit within the scope and confines of where Bethesda wants to take this game. Also, like I said previously, if someone working at Bethesda does see this video, please take these perks. They're yours to use. Or maybe put your own creative spin on these ideas, because I know the folks at Bethesda are extremely talented and could definitely turn my ideas here into something far greater. Anyway guys, that's going to do it for me. A massive shout out to all my current Patreons. Thank you all so much for your continued support on the channel. If you'd like to have your name at the end of each video and some other cool bonuses, be sure to check that out in the description, alongside with my other social medias. And be sure to subscribe and like the video if you've enjoyed. I've been Tia, and I'll catch you in the next one. Welcome to Valhalla.